Welcome to No Room for Phonies.
Episode 60.
Wow, 40 more episodes and we'll be at 100.
Awesome.
That's what we do, 2 a month. So that's 24 years. So
20 months. So a year and 8 more months.
Wow, that's good. We are doing a month of food, what we cook and why.
Awesome.
So,
and I just had a great supper, so
it was salmon.
I won't get hungry talking about
salmon
food.
Burgers and rice, and beans with black sesames and red peppers that we stir fried.
Yeah,
it was very good. We wanted to talk about food because food is really complicated in our house.
Yep.
And so we thought that if we talk about how complicated it is, but how you can eat really well and still have a complicated diet, that might be good. Mm-hmm. And my green light moment is really about finding joy in moments, and even when the world is crazy, because I find the world a bit crazy right now.
Yeah, a little rough with the situation in Ukraine and us being across the ocean and being at a loss of what to do.
And then there's extreme job action.
There's job action at the college as the union threatens to walk out at the end of this week.
Yeah. And pandemics, which to me aren't over, really.
Not really. Not if you just read that the case counts are up or something.
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
no, it was a friend of mine
spread is up.
Went to the doctor today with her little girl, and saying that community spread is very high right now.
Yeah.
And broken dishwashers, because, right, in the middle of a cycle. But
that should be a podcast episode on its own. Appliances at the Voth house.
Yeah, that could be a podcast episode. But the good thing was we actually called, and for some strange reason, we bought
the extended warranty,
which we never do. So somebody up there knew. So, you know, the podcast recommendation goes right along with this. It's Brene Brown and Karen Walrond on accessing joy and finding connection in the midst of struggle. And she talks about, you know, how can you decorate cupcakes for your little girl's birthday when the world is falling apart around you? Mm-hmm. And we really do need to stop and find joy and laughter. Like yesterday when we had our boys, the first time that we had Sebastian home
after moving
out, and both boys came and we had a nice roast beef dinner and hung out, and it really felt like adult boys things. So despite what's going on in the world, and we accessed joy through that experience. So I think it's really important to do that. And I'm just going to recommend the Millionaire Murders, the Barry and Honey Sherman murders by Kevin Donovan. He's a
investigative reporter for the Toronto Star.
And it was a really good book. I mean, it's a true kind of story, and it's but it was very interesting to just see kind of how that went down.
Have you finished it?
I finished it, but there's no resolution because the police...
Because the case hasn't been resolved.
Yeah. So, a month of food. What we cook and why. So
there are food sensitivities in mostly me.
No, well,
and then
I can't eat foods that cause inflammation because of because it's better for me. For my digestion. So,
and overall well-being and health.
Well-being. So there are 5 foods in the world that cause inflammation, and it's corn, wheat, dairy, sugar, and pork.
Yeah. So
we avoid those things. You know, you eat a bit more corn.
I eat a bit more corn, 0 wheat, and anything made with wheat, including all sorts of hidden flavorings, and barley and rye for that matter.
And we have not really had refined sugar
since Christmas.
And
some things I would say are in balance, but that would be maybe dairy, because we have aged cheeses.
Yes.
And you might have the occasional fresh cheese.
Occasional, but not much.
I am off complete cow milk of all kinds, even if it has the lactose stuff removed from it. There's other stuff in it that bothers me. So I have
oat or goat.
Gluten-free oat milk or goat milk. So
yeah.
Oat or goat.
Yeah. So,
And I mean, I can have macadamia and the other nut milks and soy milk, rice milk, but they're not my favorite.
So great foods for inflammation, for bringing down inflammation, are cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, garlic, onions, and bone broth.
Which we have cinnamon in our coffee every morning. Turmeric at least once a week in a curry or soup or more.
Ginger all the time. Garlic every day. Onions every day. Bone broth not every day, but
you've made some excellent bone broth.
In my Instant Pot, when in the old days,
so fast.
When we used to try to burn down the house making broth, we were actually telling our kids that story last night because the pots that Sebastian has are from our wedding, which was like almost 29 years ago. And we were making chicken broth in that pot, and we forgot. I was pregnant. Yep. I went to bed. We forgot about it. We got up in the night, and literally the black smoke was like this far from the floor. And we crawled out. You got to the pot. You lifted the lid. It was like on fire, the bone. And you ran out into the snow.
And tossed it in the snow.
And throw it in the snow. And we still have the pot. We cleaned it up.
Yep.
It was funny. But anyway, now we make broths in our Instant Pot, which is much better. Protein is really important for inflammation. So ground meats, especially fish, full-fat Greek yogurt, lactose-free with like 19 grams of protein per serving.
Yep.
Raw seeds that have been soaked.
Mm-hmm. And
eggs.
Good luck if you're vegan, because you can eat a lot of foods that actually that aggravate inflammation as a vegan, and you're down to very minimal nutrition if you're avoiding.
And then for like vegetables, there's sulfur-rich foods like mushrooms and onions and cabbage and cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, and leafy greens like kale and spinach and Swiss chard and collard greens and mustard greens and romaine and spring mix.
And if you want to avoid wheat but you like wraps, collard greens are perfect.
Yeah.
You just lightly steam them for 2 minutes and they make excellent wraps. I've had hamburger in a wrap.
Yeah,
like a
I
hamburger,
was actually thinking this week for grocery.
Cheeseburger in a wrap I had.
I actually was thinking this week because we kind of, when I went off corn, we sort of stopped Taco Tuesday.
Yeah,
we could wrap them in collard greens. Yeah. I really like to do that. And then colored plant foods like blueberries. Blueberries are huge for inflammation, and you should eat them every day.
Yeah.
So
we each eat beets, at least 2 tablespoons a day. Peppers,
carrots, yams, asparagus, broccoli, squash.
So the purple and the oranges and the blues and the yellows.
And it says for inflammation to avoid raw and cold.
Yeah, so vegetable platters with dip.
Yeah, and ice cream, which you wouldn't eat because of the dairy, but anyway. And grains, oatmeal, rice, and quinoa, and we
are good.
Good.
And all kinds of rice: white rice, jasmine rice, black rice, brown rice, red rice.
Yeah.
Manitoba wild rice.
And then we do probiotics and psyllium on we take a probiotic pill, but we put psyllium fiber, which we get at the bulk barn, every day on our cereal.
Yep. Or toast or something.
Or on pancakes or whatever. And that's to build your microbiome. And miso, pickles, bananas, tomatoes, artichokes, green beans, leeks, dark chocolate are all things that help build your microbiome. And digestive support like Biogest.
So that's a full spectrum food enzyme that helps break down legumes and meat.
More complex carbs.
And other complex.
And vitamin D every day.
Absolutely. And if you live anywhere north of, I'm going to say Kansas, you're going to need a lot of vitamin D because we don't get as much sun, and our skin never has a chance throughout the summer to process enough to save for the rest of the year.
And we do a slow release vitamin C, and I do a multivitamin with iron, which is in a liquid form.
And I take a multivitamin with vitamins A, B complex, zinc, and a couple other things.
And we have Carrie. Poor Carrie. She's going to have so many. She just said she got a whole bunch of new patients. And I said, well, maybe they're all the people that listen to our podcast. But we have
Carrie Rongitz, RONGITS. out
Fontaine.
Well, not Fontaine anymore, but
well, she is on her website. It's Fontaine Naturopathic.
It's still naturopathic. Okay.
Anyway, she's got a, what do you call it?
Not a blue
like
stream.
A trailer.
A trailer, but they're fancy. Airstream.
Airstream trailer.
She has an Airstream trailer, which is her mobile clinic. And she travels around. Will be traveling around the Niagara Peninsula.
But we have her to thank for like helping us with all this, because with the celiac and then the digestive issues, we have to be and are choosing to be very careful, right?
Yeah.
So,
and we actually feel much more energetic.
Yeah.
I would say I feel better than I felt than when I was 39, where I was always coping with a lot of issues.
And we don't go to restaurants a lot because they find it very difficult, like, to not cross-contaminate. Mm-hmm. We have a few restaurants where we can actually are completely gluten-free, but we don't go out very often to restaurants. And
so we've gotten good at fast meals and some slow more prep time meals. But it was very interesting that Zachary admitted that he understood why we had a meal plan, because or some meals that we always had like 2 times a month, very regularly, just because you don't have to think and you have the groceries and it's fast.
Well, and I do a meal plan, and that also saves me. And we all know right now groceries are extremely expensive.
Yeah.
So I just want to go through, and what I'm going to do with this whole list of foods, because I have about 30 different.
They're going to end up on your blog, aren't they?
They're going to all be on the blog. So I'm going to go.
That is noroomforphonies.com.
Yeah, and I'm going to go through and put them all on the blog so that you can access them. And I'll make sure that, like, some of these are already on the blog.
Yes, they are.
So, but anyway. So twice baked sweet potatoes, I actually do them in the Instant Pot. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's about 8 minutes.
Yeah, it steams them fast.
Steams them very fast. Then you take them out and you scoop out all the inside part, leave sort of like a frame around. I'm not going to describe every recipe in this much detail or we'll be here all night. But they're really, really good. And you can stuff them with anything. Beans. Like, we don't do corn, but you can stuff them with feta, with
and then you put
goat cheese.
You put the filling back in.
And then you put it back in and then bake them in the oven a bit. So... chickpea curry salad on flatbread is one we haven't done for a while, but we need to do that. It's just making chickpeas into chicken salad.
Yeah. And it's a warm curry, like it's a warm, not hot kind of curry salad.
Moroccan stew is another chickpea.
It's going to be hard not to go through everything.
I know that Moroccan stew is really good. It has yams in it and... And just a stir fry with rice or noodles. Yep. We do quite a bit.
We do a lot of power bowls with about 7 different or 8 different ingredients and very small amounts of each, just to have variety and lots of flavor profiles.
And I'm going to put up the 10-spice vegetable soup with cashew cream and ground turkey.
Ground turkey.
Ground turkey.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Crown.
Crowned. The turkey had a crown. Oh, remember that lamb stew with fennel and dates?
Oh, no.
It was nothing. It was like... Fry the fennel and the dates, throw the lamb chunks in.
And stew it away. Salad as a meal with a protein. So we often air fry chunks of tofu. It's important to toss the tofu in some cornstarch and oil and whatever spices you like or garlic. And then air fry it. And so it's low fat and really good protein.
Yeah. And those spinach feta turkey burgers.
And then like the salmon burgers.
The salmon. Oh, we made salmon burgers tonight. But
then, the avocado salsa.
The one that I make with avocado salsa is also really good. Mango curry rice and chicken.
Mango salad.
Easy mushroom risotto, which is easy. We think mushroom risotto is hard.
Well, and you have both.
Hard.
You have an Instant Pot version and a regular
I
version.
prefer the one on the stove to the one on the Instant Pot.
Yeah.
Actually, if you can believe it. But I also have my own chicken stock, right?
Yes, so that makes it fabulous.
That helps too. California roll sushi bowls.
Leek and feta quiche on potato crust.
I actually just put that one up today on the
blog.
On the blog.
That's a beautiful one.
That's when you actually make the grated potatoes into the crust. Like for us, obviously, unless I buy gluten-free pie crust, which I do.
Yeah.
You can't really No. So that's I did that one. And cauliflower, zucchini, and chickpea biryani.
Yep. Good Indian curry.
It was really good. That was really good. And basically I did it on the stovetop, but then I baked it in the oven for a while, and it was really good. And you don't kind of throw the zucchini until the very end, and then it's not all like mushy, right? Like.
And then this weekend I made homemade granola.
Which we do that. We've started to do that quite often.
Yep.
And it is a simple recipe, and no sugar.
Nope, maple syrup for the sweetener, and
coconut
oil, which is also anti-inflammatory.
Mm-hmm.
And good, it's a good healthy fat.
And then there's a crispy chili beef with sweet chili sauce.
Now I want granola for dessert.
But I've done this crispy chili beef with sweet.
Beef?
Yeah. It's a Chinese dish. It's very, very good. Okay. Oh, and I did the chickpea. I did that one twice. So that should not. A squash soup with Tuscan white beans. Mm-hmm. Like all kinds of soups. We do a lot of.
But they're hearty. They're not very brothy.
Soups. No, they're hearty. They're more thick. And there's a breakfast cookie. I should bake those.
Oh, we haven't had those in a while.
It's the base is pumpkin, and there's no sugar. But it has a lot of nuts and seeds. They're sweet from the pumpkin. They're sweet from the pumpkin, and it has a lot of it has pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds and all kinds of other things.
And one thing we also learned from Carrie is to soak the almonds and the pepitas for 24 hours in cold water, and then that makes them a lot healthier to digest.
Steak bites with sweet potatoes are done in a iron skillet.
Yeah.
And I cut the potatoes up in little chunks, like little diced, and then do the meat and the potatoes and maybe a little red pepper or something. And that's a really good meal.
And then we have Anna Olsen's baking book.
That one's on the Any Fruit Muffins.
And that's
the adapted. That's on the blog because I adapted it. Hers is not gluten free.
Right.
So I substitute
buckwheat flour
for whole wheat flour. In pretty much all my recipes. And we talked about the homemade broth, beef and turkey. You can just do a homemade broth with some noodles, chop up some green onions, put on top.
Rice noodles.
Yeah, and for me that's a great meal, right?
Oh, I should make regular gluten-free noodles by hand for that.
You go ahead. I'll go buy them at the store. Salisbury meatballs with mashed potatoes is like a family.
Such a good gravy.
That's a family favorite. And
if you can find gluten-free Worcestershire sauce,
which I ordered from Amazon. And was that the one that was 32?
You thought I was getting
a box of 8.
Or a box of 8 for $32. So we thought $4.
One bottle for $32.
But we have found it since then.
That's terrible. That was terrible, though. Price. I didn't send it back, though. I kept it. I have a great gluten-free lasagna recipe, and you can actually buy the lasagna noodles gluten-free that you do not have to cook. So I make a homemade sauce, meat sauce, and I put that in the bottom. Then I lay the uncooked lasagna, gluten-free lasagna noodles on top, cover it with sauce. I do, and we're not eating much cheese, so we're not eating much lasagna. But no, I'm going to say that overall, that we are going to eat our favorite foods. But who has lasagna all the time? Maybe Italians. It's a really heavy, rich meal. So you don't really have that. No. A ton. The last time I made it was moving weekend for Sebastian, right? No. And the thing is, I could cook it ahead.
I would say we have it 3 times a winter. That's it.
Yeah, and I can cook it ahead.
Yeah.
Like really cook it ahead, and then and lasagna is fantastic. Reheat it 100 times, right? Like it's good. Coconut shrimp curry. Tofu sweet potato bowls or German pancakes with apples.
I'm glad you discovered those.
And I think I've put those on the blog, but I'm going to go through now and kind of make a list of.
And then your baked oatmeal casserole for breakfast.
Yeah, that's on the blog for sure. And then the other week I made that Mediterranean cauliflower salad.
Yes.
Where I steamed and it was.
And then you roasted them after.
And the other thing that I've done is, is the preserved lemons.
Ugh. So good.
And you just use Mediterranean spices
just
and
look
vinegars.
for
I'm going to put
Greek. Oh, you're going to. Okay.
I'll put it on the vlog. You'll be able to do it anytime you want. Cabbage rolls I like to make. And there's a spaghetti squash, bacon, spinach, and goat cheese where you, again, in the Instant Pot, you cook the spaghetti squash.
And then you scrape it out of its shell.
Scrape it all out. And actually, you don't put it back in the shell.
That you just toss with
you
bacon,
toss
bacon,
with
bits, and goat
bits, spinach, and goat cheese. And it's a really
Yep.
hearty meal. Garlic butter, shrimp, and asparagus. We're going to actually have that this week one time.
You know what, Joan, you didn't put on here?
What?
The dates stuffed with almonds and goat cheese wrapped in prosciutto.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
The only time we have pork.
Yeah. Little prosciutto wrapped around a date with some goat cheese in it. Never hurt anybody.
No.
And then our chili, our red bean cowboy chili, which I will...
That comes from an old recipe book.
Yeah, and it's a joke because I'll say, does anybody want red bean cowboy chili? And we make it. So, I mean, when you think, okay, we avoid, when you think of the things we avoid, right? Corn, wheat, dairy, sugar, and pork. I don't think that sounds like every once in a while a little bit of bacon and prosciutto, but not like slabs of... Mm-mm. And not pork chops and I'm not saying that we'll never ever eat a pork chop ever again, but not on maybe a couple times a year we might have a pork chop. But
if you shop down the middle aisles of the grocery store and look at the packaging, you will find almost 4 out of 5 of those ingredients in almost every package, plus a bunch of chemicals. So
so I mean, we're talking about eating whole,
cook from scratch, shop around the outside of the grocery store.
Wholesome eating, I guess is what you call it, right? Yep. Wholesome. And trying to make sure that you stick some of these really high-end foods into your diet on a regular basis. I mean, I use cinnamon a lot. Yeah. And I certainly ginger not every day, but garlic and onions every single day. So,
and really, if you just want to get started, you eliminate one thing at a time. Yeah. But before you start eliminating, start having a tablespoon and a half or 2 tablespoons of psyllium every day and taking a probiotic. The probiotics should be the kind that you buy in a refrigerated area from a health food store. If it's on a shelf at room temperature, it will not work.
No. And don't go to your doctor and ask if you should take psyllium or probiotic because they'll say no.
It doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make any difference.
But it makes a difference.
Makes a huge difference for your digestion. Like a huge. And I would say that Carrie would probably say every single person in the world should have one. I mean, I feel very lucky that we're in a part of the world where we actually can have a probiotic, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of places right
where
now
they would just have to get it from fermented vegetables.
Yeah. So that is and like I say, start looking at the blog, and you'll find literally all these recipes. I'm going to go through the blog and figure out which ones are on there and which ones aren't. And as I make them so that I can get pictures of them, because we're going to be eating all these things in the next little while, so I can get pictures of them. Or I'll make a lasagna for somebody else, because lots of people like my lasagna. That's a pretty favorite dish.
Absolutely.
So you'll see them all pop up on the blog, and then and if you want to start eating clean or wholesome, it's never too late. Never. And you don't have to suffer.
No, I don't feel I'm suffering.
No. And dark chocolate is still allowed, right?
The kind that has no sugar in it.
No sugarless dark chocolate. I said that to my friend today and she was like, ew.
That's just like bitter. But you can find it sweetened with monk fruit sugar, which is
But the other thing, remember that milk chocolate bar thing that I found at the health food store? Yeah. On the weekend? It has no sugar in it.
It had vegan sugar. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, maybe I missed it.
Anyway, coconut sugar is not the same.
Coconut sugar is fine. I made a rhubarb cake yesterday
with honey and coconut sugar.
And
that's gone.
And It's not gone. There's some downstairs.
Dessert.
The kids ate it. We had it for dessert. They each had they had a big piece and then seconds.
Yeah.
And then you took it for lunch, but there's still some down there. Because I gave the kids lots of roast beef and leftover mashed potatoes and vegetables. And I made, I didn't even put that on, the Moroccan carrot salad that I make.
But that's already on the web, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Maybe.
And then we gave most of it away except a little bit of roast beef that we kept, but I didn't give them the rest of the cake because I knew he would want it. So yeah, eat well, eat healthy. Look on the blog for all the recipes on the blog are gluten-free. All of them, and most of them are very wholesome eating, following this kind of a plan.
That's right. And speaking of kids, next week.
Not next week, but March 30th.
End of the month.
We are going to do another version of the evolution of parenting, the one without the kids.
That's kind of like,
Yeah. Anyway, the evolution of parenting. So,
so thanks a lot for being along,
for joining
listening
us.
along with us on episode 60.
No Room for Phonies. A month of food, what we cook, and why.
And I don't know what else I was going to say.
So, yeah, and I actually I will try to make sure that I add a whole month's worth of food.
Recipes on the blog.
So check us out.
So, and if you have a wholesome recipe that you already make as a family favorite, please send us an email or message us with that information. We'd be happy to try something out.
For sure. So thanks for joining us. Episode 60, A Month of Food, What We Cook and Why.
Good night.